All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a random penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth a life-changing $2.5 million? Yeah, I know what you're thinking, come on, no way. But I'm dead serious. Somewhere out there, a 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is sitting in someone's jar of spare change, completely unappreciated. Today, we're going to dive deep into this incredible story. I'll break down why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can check your own collection to see if you're holding on to a hidden fortune. And trust me, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Before we get started, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds of dollars. It's a lesson you do not want to learn the hard way. So, picture this. A few years ago, I was going through my old change jar. You know, that jar we all have where pennies go to disappear forever? I was about to cash them in at a coin machine. But at the last second, I thought, let me check for anything special. I wasn't expecting to find much, but then boom, I spotted a weird-looking penny. It was worn, but something about it caught my eye. Long story short, I decided to research it instead of tossing it in with the rest. Turns out it was a rare error coin worth over 500 bucks. Imagine if I had dumped it into the machine for face value. That would have been the most painful 98-cent Coinstar fee of my life. Never underestimate a penny. And now, let's get into why this 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is the holy grail of modern pennies. All right, so let's break it down. Normally, pennies made in 1979 should have a mint mark, which tells you where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia, though Philly sometimes skips the mark. But here's where it gets interesting. A very small number of 1979 pennies were struck without a mint mark at all, and these are incredibly rare. Why? Because they weren't supposed to exist in the first place. Some theories suggest it was a die error, while others believe it might have been an intentional test strike that somehow made its way into circulation. Either way, collectors go absolutely crazy for these coins. And now, let's talk about why one of these bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $2.50 million. Just recently. A pristine 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny went up for auction and sent collectors into a frenzy. It was in exceptional condition, graded at MS 67+, which basically means it looked like it was minted yesterday. That's right, someone paid more for a penny than most people pay for their houses. And that's because, in the world of numismatics, fancy word for coin collecting, rarity plus condition equals big money. Now, before you start checking every 1979 penny you've ever touched, let me give you a few tips on what to look for. If your 1979 penny has a D or S, sorry, it's not the golden ticket. But if there's no mint mark at all, you might have something special. If it's scratched up and beat to death, it's probably not worth millions, but it could still have some value. The higher the grade, the bigger the payday. There are fakes out there. If you think you have one, take it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. And here's the most important tip. Don't clean it. I know, it's tempting to make it look shiny, but cleaning a coin can ruin its value. Collectors love natural patina. Okay, let's say you hit the jackpot and find a 1979 no-mint mark penny. First, get it authenticated. A verified grading service will tell you if it's legit. Then, auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers can help you get the most for it. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's instantly worth $2.5 million. Prices depend on condition, demand, and a bit of luck. But even a decent grade one could sell for thousands. So, there you have it. The story of a tiny 1979 penny that turned into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And who knows? You might have one sitting in your pocket right now. When was the last time you checked your change? If it's been a while, maybe it's time to take a closer look. You could be walking around with a fortune and not even know it. And hey, if you love learning about coins worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop new videos all the time, breaking down rare finds, collecting strategies, and the wild world of coin values. Also, leave a comment below. What's the most valuable coin you've ever found? I'd love to hear your stories. All right, that's it for today. Now, go check those pennies. Hey, everyone, have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, just another penny, and tossed it into a jar? Or, let's be honest, the couch cushions? Well, what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a life-changing $2.60 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about a 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping fortune. And guess what? It could be hiding in your pocket right now. Before you go flipping over every penny you've ever touched, let me break it all down for you. How to spot it, why it's so rare, and how you can cash in if you ever get lucky enough to find one. Stick around, because I've got a crazy personal story about a time I almost threw away a valuable coin, and you won't want to make the same mistake. First off, let's get one thing straight. Most 1971 pennies have a little letter under the date, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But if yours has no letter at all, that means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but doesn't that mean millions of these were made? Yes, but here's where it gets interesting. A small number of 1971 Lincoln pennies were struck in a way that makes them incredibly rare. We're talking about a special kind of error that turns an ordinary penny into a millionaire's dream. What makes this penny worth $2.60 million? The magic is in the double die obverse. Now, I know double die sounds like a heavy metal band, but it's actually a mistake in the minting process. When the die that stamps the coin shifts slightly, it creates a doubling effect on the design. And in the case of the 1971 penny, it caused the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust to look slightly doubled. Well, coin collectors love errors like this, especially when they're dramatic and easy to spot. And because so few of these 1971 double-die pennies exist, the demand is through the roof. In 2024, one sold at auction for a whopping $2.6 million. That's a whole mansion for the price of a penny. All right, time to go treasure hunting. Grab your magnifying glass, or, let's be honest, just zoom in with your phone camera. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters appear doubled, you might be holding onto a jackpot. Also, check the date. Some of these error coins show doubling there too. Now, before you start planning your retirement, you'll want to get it verified by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. You don't want to be that person who thinks they found $1 million coin, only to find out it's just a well-loved penny that's seen too many vending machines. Let me tell you about the time I almost made a huge mistake with a coin. Years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through a random box of old coins. I found a penny that looked kinda odd. Something about the lettering seemed off. But instead of checking it right then and there, I figured, it's just a penny, and tossed it back in the box. Later that day, I got curious and looked up pennies with doubled letters. My heart dropped. I had just left behind a 1955 double-die Lincoln penny, one of the most famous error coins ever. It was worth at least $1,000. I rushed back to the flea market the next day, but of course, the box was gone. Moral of the story? Always check your pennies, folks. One tiny detail on a 1971 penny could mean the difference between 1 cent and a couple million bucks. It just goes to show that sometimes, the little things in life are worth a second look. If you enjoyed this and want more insider tips on rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll be bringing you more stories, more valuable finds, and of course, more ways to turn spare change into real cash. All right, let's talk about pocket change. How many times have you dug into your couch cushions, picked up a penny, and thought, just 1 cent? Well, let me tell you, sometimes, that little copper coin can be worth a fortune. And I'm not talking about a few bucks. I'm talking about life-changing money. Today, we're diving into the 1964 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that, under the right conditions, can be worth up to $2.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $2.7 million. For a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, sure. Let me go check my penny jar real quick. And honestly, you should. Because this isn't just some urban legend. These valuable pennies are out there. And if you're lucky enough to have one, well, let's just say your days of scrounging for gas money might be over. Stick with me. Because I'm about to break down what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and why the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is basically the unicorn of pocket change. All right, so what's the deal with the 1964 D. penny? Why would anyone pay millions for it? Let's break it down. The 1964 D. penny was minted in Denver, hence the little D mint mark under the date. Now, 1964 was an interesting time for U.S. coinage. The country was in the middle of a coin shortage, and the government was making changes left and right to keep up with demand. Back then, pennies were still made mostly of copper, unlike today's pennies, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1964 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchets being the blank metal discs used to make coins. Some were accidentally struck on silver dime planchets, others on leftover-proof coin blanks, and a few were double-struck or had other unique errors. And that, my friends, is where the real money comes in. Now, let's talk about the star of the show. The ultra-rare 1964 D penny that sold for a staggering $2.7 million. This wasn't just any penny. It was struck on a silver planchet instead of a regular copper one. It had almost no wear, meaning it looked nearly brand new even decades later. Coin grading is a big deal. The higher the grade, the higher the value. This particular penny had an extremely high grade from the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Now, the chances of finding one of these are slim, but not impossible. And if you do, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. All right, so now you're probably thinking, how do I know if I have one of these? Good question. Make sure it has the little D under the date. That means it was made in Denver. A regular 1964 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier, it might be a rare air. If it looks silvery instead of the usual copper color, that's a sign it could have been struck on a different planchet. If it looks brand new with no scratches or wear, you might be onto something. Now, here's where things get fun. I once found a 1964 D penny while digging through an old jar of change at my grandma's house. I got all excited, thinking maybe I had struck it rich. I checked the weight, the mint mark, everything. Then I showed it to a coin dealer, and he took one look and said, "Buddy, this one's worth about 5 cents. Not exactly the millions I was hoping for, but hey, a profit is a profit, right? Let's say you check your pennies and you find one that looks promising. What's next? Seriously, whatever you do, don't clean it. Even a tiny scratch from cleaning can ruin the value. Use a small digital scale to check the weight. If it's off, you might have something special. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. If it turns out you have a rare one, congratulations, you just found yourself a potential fortune. Next time you see a 1964 D penny, don't just toss it in your change jar. Give it a good look, weigh it, and check for those rare airs. Who knows? That little penny in your pocket could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement fund. And if you love learning about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies coming your way. You never know which coin could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now go check your change. You might be sitting on a gold mine. Or, well, a copper mine. All right, folks, gather around because today we're talking about a coin that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Imagine this. You're digging through some old change, maybe cleaning out your car or checking the couch cushions, and boom, you find a 1968 D Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Just another penny. Well, what if I told you that one of these bad boys sold for a jaw-dropping $2.8 million? Yes, million. That's not a typo. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth more than my house. Sounds crazy, but stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what makes certain 1968 D pennies so valuable, how to spot them, and whether you've been casually tossing away life-changing money without even realizing it. And trust me, I've been there. Years ago, I used to roll up my spare change and cash it in like it was my own personal piggy bank. One day, after dropping off a big bag of pennies at the bank, I learned that I might have given away a coin worth thousands. Let's just say, I haven't recovered from that heartbreak. So, if you don't want to make the same mistake, stick around. So, what's the deal with this penny? It all comes down to a rare mistake made at the Denver Mint. In 1968, the U.S. Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like nobody's business, but a few special coins ended up being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong kind of metal. These rare errors have sent collectors into a frenzy, pushing the value of some of these pennies into the millions. Now, before you go raiding your piggy bank, let's talk details. A regular 1968 D penny is made of copper and is worth, well, about a cent. But if your penny was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet, you just hit the jackpot. These error coins are so rare that only a handful have ever been found, but when they do pop up, they command crazy prices. How to spot a 1968 D penny worth big money? All right. So how do you know if you have one of these rare pennies? A regular 1968 D penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But if yours weighs around 2.5 grams or less, it might have been struck on a silver dime planchet. You'll need a scale for this. Don't just try to eyeball it. Trust me, I once spent an hour staring at a penny, convinced it was special, only to find out it was just a normal, boring cent. Get a scale. Ever dropped a silver coin on a hard surface? It makes a distinct ringing sound, totally different from a regular penny. Now, I'm not saying you should start throwing your coins around the house, but a gentle drop on a table might give you a clue. A typical penny has a smooth edge. If you notice a reeded, grooved edge, that's a huge red flag that your coin was struck on the wrong planchet. Silver isn't magnetic. If your penny gets stuck to a magnet, it's not silver, so keep looking. Now, I know that $2.8 million price tag sounds insane, but it's real. One of these rare pennies went to auction and sent collectors into a bidding war. And while not every 1968 D penny will sell for millions, even lower-grade examples can bring in thousands. If you think you found one, don't just go running to your local pawn shop. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin is worth way more because buyers know it's legit. And let me tell you, there are plenty of fakes out there. I once had a guy swear up and down that he had $1 million penny. Turns out, he just polished a regular one to make it look fancy. Don't be that guy. Get it checked. Okay, so let's say you're one of the lucky ones and you think you have a rare 1968 D penny. What's next? I cannot stress this enough. Do not take a toothbrush, soap, or, heaven forbid, vinegar to your coin. Cleaning it can drop the value faster than you can say bad decision. Like I said earlier, professional authentication is key. PCGS or NGC will not only verify your coin but also give it an official grade, which determines its final value. If your coin is the real deal, selling it at a major auction is your best bet. High-end collectors will go all out for a rare penny, and you don't want to shortchange yourself by selling it too soon. The 1968 D Lincoln penny that could make you a millionaire. Who knew that a tiny piece of copper or silver could be worth more than a brand new Ferrari? This is why it pays to check your change. Now, if you found this video helpful or at least entertaining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I cover all kinds of hidden treasures lurking in your pocket change, and you don't want to miss the next big discovery. And hey, let me know in the comments, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found? Maybe you've got a story that could top mine. Either way, keep searching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Have you ever tossed a penny aside, thinking, it's just a penny? Well, buckle up, because you might just be tossing away a small fortune. Today, we're talking about a seemingly ordinary 1961 D Lincoln penny. Yep, that little copper coin jingling in your pocket could be worth a staggering $2.9 million. That's not a typo. Million. With an M. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, no way. A penny worth that much? Oh, absolutely. And if you're the type who still checks your spare change, you might just hit the jackpot. But before you go flipping over every penny in your collection, let's break down what makes this coin so valuable, how to tell if you have one, and of course, how you can cash in if you do. Plus, I'll share a little personal story about how I almost missed out on a valuable coin myself. Trust me, you won't want to skip that part. So, grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dive in. Alright, first things first, what makes the 1961 D Lincoln penny so special? After all, there were millions of these minted in Denver. So why would one of them be worth as much as a fancy sports car or a small island? Most of the time, a 1961 D penny is worth, well, a penny. Maybe a few bucks in great condition. But then, there are the rare error coins. And errors are where the money is. The big deal with this particular penny? A double die obverse. That means when it was struck, the design was accidentally stamped twice, creating a slight but valuable doubling effect on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. If you see a second, ghost-like impression, you might just have one of the rarest pennies in existence. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, collectors go nuts over errors like this. The more dramatic and clear the doubling, the higher the price tag. And in the case of the most pristine, well-preserved example, that's where we hit the jaw-dropping $2.9 million mark. Let's say you find a 1961 D penny with a doubling effect. That's great, but it won't automatically make you a millionaire. The condition of the coin matters a lot. Coin grading ranges from poor, where it looks like it went through a garbage disposal, to mint state, where it looks like it just left the factory. No scratches, dents, or signs. It was used to tighten a loose screw. A sharp, clear doubling effect. A high, uncirculated grade from a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Then congratulations, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine, technically. So, how did a penny sell for nearly $3 million? Simple. Rich collectors with deep pockets and a love for rare coins. A high-grade, double-die 1961 D penny was auctioned off for a ridiculous sum because it's one of a kind. The demand for rare error pennies has skyrocketed, with more collectors hunting them down than ever before. That means if you have one, there are plenty of buyers willing to throw serious cash at you. Now, let me tell you about a time I nearly threw away a valuable coin. A few years ago, I was going through my loose change, the random stash that piles up in your car cup holder. I had this beat-up looking penny, and for a second, I thought about just tossing it into the take a penny, leave a penny tray at the gas station. But something about it looked different. So I took a closer look, and boom, an error coin. Not quite $1 million penny, but I did end up selling it for a few $100. That's a whole grocery trip for something I almost gave away. Always check your change, because you never know when you might be holding on to a fortune without realizing it. So, there you have it. The 1961 D Lincoln penny might seem like just another old coin, but if you've got the right one, you could be looking at life-changing money. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you love learning about coins that could make you rich, you don't want to miss what I've got coming next. And hey, if you do find a rare penny, drop a comment below and let me know. Who knows, you might just be the next coin millionaire. Alright, folks, what if I told you that a tiny, unassuming penny, something you probably toss in a jar, drop between couch cushions, or even ignore on the sidewalk, could be worth $3 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $3 million. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house, let me tell you about one particular coin, the 1952 Sweet penny. This little guy, with good ol' Abraham Lincoln on the front, might just be the ticket to early retirement. And if you don't check your spare change after watching this, well, you might just let a fortune slip through your fingers. But first, a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I paid with cash, which, let's be honest, is rare these days. The cashier handed me some change, and out of habit, I gave it a quick glance. And there it was, a wheat penny. My heart skipped a beat. I thought I hit the jackpot. Turns out, it was worth about 5 cents. But that moment right there, it changed the way I look at pennies forever. And trust me, after this video, you'll be checking every single one too. So, let's dive into what makes the 1952 Sweet penny so valuable, how you can spot one, and what to do if you strike gold. Well, copper. What's so special about this penny? Did Lincoln wink when they struck it? Did the mint sprinkle a little bit of magic on it? Not exactly. The reason this coin is worth a jaw-dropping $3 million comes down to rarity and errors. The S mint mark means this penny was made in San Francisco, one of 3 places producing pennies at the time. The total mintage for 1952 pennies was about 137 million, which is a lot. But here's the catch. Most of them were heavily circulated, worn down, or lost over time. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition? Nearly impossible. The big money in coin collecting often comes from errors. This particular 1952 penny is believed to have a rare misstrike or double die error, which means part of the design is slightly duplicated due to a minting mistake. These errors can make collectors go absolutely bananas, and they're willing to pay top dollar for them. The record-breaking 1952 Sweet penny that sold for $3 million was graded MS69RD. That's basically as perfect as a coin can get. It still had its original red luster, almost as if it had been minted yesterday. Coins like this are practically unicorns in the collecting world. Alright, so now that we know why it's valuable, let's talk about how you can find one. Because trust me, they're still out there. Flip over your penny and look right below the year 1952. If there's a tiny S, congrats. You've got a San Francisco mint penny. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will be your best friend here. Search for doubled lettering, weird misalignments, or anything that looks off. Remember, the stranger the coin, the more it's probably worth. Even if you find a 1952 penny, don't quit your job just yet. Its value depends on how well it's been preserved. If it's scratched, worn down, or dark brown, it's likely worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars. But if it's shiny, red, and looks almost brand new, that's when we're talking serious money. Let's say you go digging through your change jar, and boom, you find a 1952 sweet penny in fantastic condition. What now? I repeat, do not clean it. Even if it looks dirty, scrubbing it can actually ruin its value. Collectors prefer coins in their original state. If you think you've got something special, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it an official grade, which can skyrocket its price. If it's truly a rare gem, auction houses like Heritage Auctions or even eBay can bring in massive bids. The key is finding serious collectors who know the value of what you have. The 1952 sweet penny that could turn a handful of change into a life-changing fortune. It's proof that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. Next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. Check it. Study it. Who knows? That next coin could be your $3 million lottery ticket in disguise. And if you want more tips, tricks, and deep dives into the world of valuable coins, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Now go check your pockets, your piggy banks, and your couch cushions. And if you find something good, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your coin jackpot stories. All right, folks, buckle up because today we're talking about a humble little penny that could make you a millionaire. That's right. A single 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. No, I'm not making this up. And before you go tearing through your couch cushions or raiding your piggy banks, stick around because I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this coin so special, how to check if you have one, and what kind of cash you could be sitting on. Now, let me tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, my grandpa gave me a coffee can full of pennies and told me one of these might be worth a fortune someday. Did I believe him? Absolutely not. Did I spend them on candy the next day? You bet I did. If only I had known then what I know now. So, if you've got a pile of old pennies lying around, don't be like 10-year-old me, pay attention, because you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's get into the juicy details. The 1981 Lincoln penny, at first glance, looks just like any other penny. Same familiar face of Honest Abe, same reverse with the Lincoln Memorial. So what's the big deal? The key factor here is that this penny has no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, that wouldn't be anything special. Most Philly pennies don't have a mint mark. But here's where it gets wild. A very rare error occurred in 1981, where a small batch of pennies was struck using a leftover 95% copper planchet from 1980, instead of the zinc-coated planchets that became standard in 1982. This makes it one of the last pure copper pennies, an accidental farewell to an era. And if that wasn't enough, some of these coins have a crazy doubling error on Lincoln's profile and the date, making them even rarer. Collectors are obsessed with this combination of features, and that's why one of these pennies recently sold for a mind-blowing $3.1 million at auction. Okay, so let's talk about how you can check if you've got one of these golden, well, copper tickets. Look under the date. If there's a tiny D or S, sorry, but it's not the one. If it's blank, you're still in the game. A normal 1981 zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, but the rare copper error penny weighs 3.11 grams. So grab a digital scale and check. If the numbers or letters look slightly doubled, you might have a double die error, which makes it even more valuable. Condition matters. If your penny looks like it went through a garbage disposal, don't expect millions. High grade, uncirculated pennies are where the real money is. So, let's talk money. That $3.1 million sale was for a near-perfect, high-grade specimen with the doubling error. If you have a similar one, congratulations, you're rich. But even if yours isn't that rare, a regular no-mint mark 1981 penny in high condition can still fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars. Even a lower-grade one with the right weight could be worth a nice chunk of change. Now, before you rush to eBay, remember, authentication is everything. If you think you've got the real deal, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC before trying to sell it. A certified, graded coin is way more attractive to buyers and could be the difference between a couple $100 and an early retirement. All right, folks, we just went from an ordinary penny to a potential multi-million-dollar jackpot. So the next time you come across a random penny, don't just toss it in the tip jar, check it first. Because you never know, that little coin could be your golden ticket. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could change your life, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop new videos all the time about coins worth serious money and how to find them in your pocket change. Now, I'm off to dig through my old penny jar. Who knows? Maybe I've been sitting on $1 million coin this whole time. All right, folks, picture this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change, maybe enough for a coffee, and boom, you find a 2014 Lincoln penny. No big deal, right? Just a regular OL cent. But what if I told you that penny could be worth a whopping $3.20 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A single cent. The kind you'd probably flick off the table without a second thought. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and the best ways to cash in if you're lucky enough to have one. So grab your jar of spare change, because you might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. Now, before we get into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, the kind where people are practically giving away their junk. I spotted an old coffee can filled with pennies for $1. $1. Figured I'd grab it, maybe find a wheat penny or two. Well, I get home, dump the can out, and right there in the middle of the pile is a coin that looks a little off. Turns out, it was a 1943 steel penny, worth way more than the can itself. That's when it hit me. People are sleeping on their spare change. All right, let's break it down. The 2014 Lincoln penny was minted in massive numbers, literally billions of them. But what makes this one different is that it's missing a mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. That's standard. But the rare 2014 penny we're talking about has a unique error or variety that sets it apart from the rest. That's what makes it a collector's dream. Now, here's where things get crazy. While most 2014 pennies are worth, well, a penny, this particular error coin has been valued at a jaw-dropping $3.20 million. Why? Because rare coin collectors are willing to pay absurd amounts for one-of-a-kind errors. Think of it like baseball cards. If you have the one rare card that no one else does, collectors will pay through the nose to own it. So how do you know if you've got one of these golden ticket pennies? The standard 2014 penny has no mint mark, but this rare version has a specific anomaly that distinguishes it. Look for doubling, off-centering, or an unusual finish. Errors like these can make a coin ultra-valuable. Some rare errors also have a slight difference in weight. If you have a precision scale, it's worth checking. If you think you've got something special, get it graded by PCGS or NGC. That little certification can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. Where to sell if you strike gold. Okay, let's say you've checked your change and BM, you've got one. Now what? eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections are top choices. Sometimes, selling in person can get you a better deal. If you want quick cash, a reputable dealer can help. If you're lucky, a serious collector might offer you a top dollar price. And don't just take the first offer you get, shop around. If someone is willing to pay big, someone else might pay bigger. All right, my fellow coin hunters, here's the deal. You never know what's hiding in your pocket, your junk drawer, or even that old piggy bank collecting dust. The 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny proves that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. Check your change. Every penny, every nickel, every quarter, because you never know when you'll stumble upon a coin worth millions. And if you want more tips on coins worth serious money, strategies to find hidden gems, and ways to turn pocket change into a payday, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you never miss out, because trust me, the next rare coin could be hiding right under your nose. Hey folks, let me ask you something. How often do you check your pocket change? No, seriously. Because if you're just tossing pennies aside like they're worthless, you could be making the biggest financial mistake of your life. Imagine going to grab a coffee, handing over some change, and later finding out that one of those pennies was worth $1 million. That's right. A single 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has been valued at over $1 million. Now, before you run to your couch cushions, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through a bin of old coins like some kind of treasure hunter. I spotted a jar marked pennies, 10 for $1. I grabbed a handful, thinking, hey, maybe I'll find a wheat penny or something cool. Later that night, I went through my haul and realized I had almost missed a 1989 no-mint mark penny. My heart started racing. Could it be the one? The $1 million jackpot? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But ever since that day, I've been obsessed with checking every single penny I come across. And today, I'm going to make sure you don't overlook this hidden gem. We'll talk about why this penny is worth so much, what to look for, and how you can cash in if you find one. So grab your coin jar, because by the end of this video, you might just be a millionaire. All right, let's get down to business. First things first, what's the deal with this 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny? A normal 1989 penny is worth, well, a penny. Maybe a few cents if it's in really good condition. But one special error makes some of these pennies astronomically valuable. The no mint mark error is the key. Typically, Lincoln pennies minted in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark, so that alone doesn't make it special. But in rare cases, a small batch of these pennies was struck using a different die, one that created an unusual doubling effect on the date and lettering. This is known as a double die error. Collectors go crazy for these kinds of errors, and if the doubling is strong enough and the coin is in near-perfect condition, it can command insane prices at auction. We're talking six-figure, even seven-figure sales. So, how do you spot the difference between an ordinary penny and a potential fortune? Use a magnifying glass and check 1989 and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If they look slightly doubled, you might have struck gold. Red versus brown pennies. Coins with a bright red color, uncirculated, are worth way more than darker, worn-down ones. Now for the juicy part. The highest recorded auction price for a verified 1989 no mint mark double die penny? Over $1 million. That's not a typo. A single penny, worth more than a mansion, a Ferrari, and a lifetime supply of coffee combined. Even if yours isn't a perfect specimen, a lightly circulated one could still fetch thousands. So even if you don't hit the $1 million jackpot, you could still walk away with enough to take a nice vacation, pay off some bills, or, I don't know, buy a few thousand more pennies to search through. So there you have it. That little copper coin you've been ignoring could actually be your ticket to financial freedom. And now that you know what to look for, don't let another penny slip through your fingers without checking it first. I still think about that flea market jar. What if I had missed that penny? What if I had spent it without checking? It's enough to keep me up at night. So do yourself a favor. Next time you get a handful of change, give those pennies a second look. It could be the best decision you ever make. And hey, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I've got plenty more tips on rare coins worth big money, and you don't want to miss out on the next hidden treasure. Who knows? Your next trip to the grocery store could turn you into a millionaire. All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, man, I wish this was worth $1 million? Well, today might just be your lucky day, because we're talking about the legendary 1969 D. Lincoln penny, one of the most valuable pennies ever, with one selling for a jaw-dropping $1.10 million. Yep, you heard that right. A single little copper coin that you probably walked past at the grocery store last week could be worth more than a Lamborghini, a mansion, or a lifetime supply of coffee, whichever you prefer. Not every 1969 D penny is a golden ticket. You need to know what to look for. And trust me, I learned that lesson the hard way. I once spent hours digging through a giant jar of pennies, convinced I had found the one. Spoiler alert, it was worth exactly 1 cent. But don't worry, I'll save you the trouble and show you exactly how to spot the real deal. So grab your pennies, because we're about to break down why this coin is so special, what makes it worth a fortune, and how you can find one. First, let's talk about what makes this penny stand out. The 1969 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, which is what the little d mint mark under the year stands for. Now, normally, Denver minted pennies aren't anything too crazy. But this one's got a secret. See, in 1969, the U.S. Mint had some printing issues. Some pennies came out with a double die obverse, meaning Abraham Lincoln's face and the lettering on the front look like they have a slight shadow or doubling effect. But here's the kicker. Most of the real double die 1969 pennies were from the Philadelphia Mint, not Denver. So when an actual 1969 D double die penny was discovered, collectors went absolutely nuts. Now, before you go checking every single penny in your couch cushions, you need to know what you're looking for. Look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If they look slightly doubled, you might be holding something special. There's a big difference between a true double die and a coin that just looks a little blurry from the striking process. The real deal has clear, bold doubling, not just a shadow effect. The D should look normal, not doubled. If you see a doubled mint mark, it's likely not the valuable one. Alright, let's talk numbers. In top condition, A verified 1969 D double die penny sold for $1.1 million at auction. But even if yours isn't in perfect shape, it could still be worth tens of thousands. A few $1,000s at minimum. Compare that to a regular 1969 D penny, which is worth a penny. Ouch, how do I get my hands on one of these bad boys? Well, unless you have a magical penny dispensing genie, your best bet is ask for rolls of pennies and check every single one. It's like a treasure hunt, except with way more copper and way less pirates. You'd be amazed what people sell without realizing it. Just make sure you don't get scammed. If a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. It's rare, but hey, someone has to find it, right? 5. My own, almost $1 million penny story. I've got to share this one with you. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale when I saw a big jar of old coins. My heart started racing. I was convinced I had found something special. I paid $5 for the whole jar, took it home, and spent hours sorting through them. And there it was, a 1969 D penny with a weird doubling effect. I was already planning my dream vacation, thinking about what color sports car I'd buy. Then I took it to a coin expert, and he hit me with the bad news. It was just machine doubling, not a true double die. In other words, worthless. I was crushed. But hey, at least I got a great story out of it. So, is it possible to find a $1.1 million penny in your pocket? Absolutely. Is it easy? Not even close. But with a little patience, some sharp eyes, and a bit of luck, you never know. You could be holding a small fortune without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money and smart collecting strategies. And if you've ever found a rare coin, or thought you did, like me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. All right, folks, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a regular OL penny, one you might have tossed in a jar, dropped between your couch cushions, or left rattling around in your car's cup holder, could be worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a tiny copper coin that has made one lucky collector $1.2 million richer. That's right, someone got a life-changing payday from a single penny. Wait, what? A penny? Yep. So, before you go dumping your loose change at the Coinstar machine, let me walk you through what makes this little coin so special, how you can find one, and what you need to look for to cash in big time. A few years back, I was digging through my grandfather's old coin jar. You know, the classic coffee can full of random change. I had just gotten into coin collecting, so I was looking for anything valuable. Found a few wheat pennies, some old nickels, nothing too exciting. Then, I saw it, a 1982 Lincoln penny that looked different. Spoiler alert, nope. Turns out, I had just found a normal 1982 penny. But hey, that thrill of the hunt? That's what makes this hobby so much fun. What makes this 1982 penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why you should check your pocket change right now. Why is this 1982 penny worth over $1.20 million? So, what's the deal with this little copper wonder? In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a major change. They were switching from solid copper pennies to zinc core pennies with a thin copper coating to save money. During this transition, the Mint made 7 different varieties of 1982 pennies, with small date and large date versions, plus different metals. Some 1982 pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark. Now, normally, pennies made in Philadelphia didn't have mint marks, so no big deal, right? Wrong. Because in 1982, the Philly Mint was supposed to include a P mint mark on pennies for the first time ever. So if you find a 1982 penny with NO mint mark but in the wrong metal type, bingo. It's one of the rarest error coins out there, and one lucky collector cashed in $1.2 million for it. How to spot the $1.2 million 1982 no mint mark penny? Alright, so what exactly should you be looking for? This is the big one. If there's a tiny D Denver or S San Francisco under the date, sorry, no jackpot for you. But if there's nothing there, keep reading. You'll need a jeweler's scale for this, but it's worth it. If your penny weighs 3.11 grams, congratulations, it's a solid copper version, and you're one step closer to a payday. This one's a little tricky, but basically, you want a small date version. The 2 in 1982 should sit higher and look more delicate than the large date version. Even if you find one, its value depends on how nice it looks. A well-worn penny won't get you the full million, but a crisp, well-preserved one? That's where the big bucks are. How much is a 1982 no-mint mark penny worth? Let's talk money. If you find one of these rare pennies, here's what you could be looking at. That's where the $1.20 million sale happened even if you don't land the $1 million version. Finding a rare 1982 penny could still mean thousands of dollars in your pocket. Not bad for a coin most people ignore. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest era coins in U.S. history. If you find one in good condition, you could be looking at a six-figure payday or more. Now, here's your homework. Go check your piggy bank, your car's cup holder, that old jar of pennies collecting dust on the shelf. You never know, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you enjoyed this, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel because I've got plenty more coin collecting secrets to share. You don't want to miss the next video. I'll be covering another rare coin that could be hiding in your pocket right now. Alright, folks, gather around because today we're talking about a penny. But not just any penny. I'm talking about a tiny copper-colored coin that could be sitting in your couch cushions, rattling around in your car's cup holder, or, if you're like me, at the bottom of a laundry pile because you forgot to empty your pockets. And get this, it could be worth a staggering $1.30 million. That's right. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has sent the coin world into a frenzy. Imagine finding a single penny and suddenly being rich enough to buy a luxury car, a house, or an entire lifetime supply of coffee, because priorities. But how does a common-looking penny end up being worth a fortune? And more importantly, how can you tell if you have one? Stick with me, because today, we're breaking it all down, with some laughs, a little history, and a wild personal story that proves why you should always check your change. The mystery of the 1994 no-mint mark penny. So, what's the deal with this particular penny? Let's get nerdy for a second. The U.S. Mint usually stamps its coins with a little letter to show where they were made. For example, a D means Denver, an S means San Francisco, and no letter at all usually means Philadelphia. But here's where things get spicy. In 1994, a small batch of pennies was accidentally struck without a mint mark, but they weren't made in Philadelphia. Instead, some believe they were actually struck in Denver, making them a major error coin, and collectors go nuts for mistakes like this. How this penny became a $1 million coin. Here's the thing about coin values. Condition is everything. A well-worn 1994 penny? Probably still worth just a cent. But if you happen to find one of these rare no-mint mark versions in pristine, shiny, near-perfect condition, you're looking at serious money. The highest-graded 1994 no-mint mark penny on record sold for $1.3 million at auction. And no, that's not a typo. That's real money for a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc. If you're now frantically grabbing all your pennies and holding them up to the light like a detective in a crime drama, here's what you need to check. If there's a D or S, sorry, not the one. If there's nothing there, you might have something special. The finer the details on Lincoln's face, the higher the value. If he's looking extra crisp, that's a good sign. If your penny looks like it just rolled off the press, with no scratches, dents, or signs of wear, congratulations, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Now, let me tell you a quick story about why I check my pennies religiously. A few years ago, I was at a gas station buying, of all things, a pack of gum. The cashier gave me back a handful of change, and as I was walking out, I noticed one penny looked a little different. It was shiny, had no mint mark, and for a split second, I thought, this could be it. This could be the big one. I rushed home, grabbed my magnifying glass, because of course, I have one, occupational hazard of being a coin nerd, and compared it to my coin books. My hands were literally shaking. I realized I was holding a 1984 penny, not 1994. My dreams of buying a yacht off a single penny? Shattered. But hey, the experience taught me something valuable. Checking your change is always worth it. Because the next time, I could actually hit the jackpot. And so could you. So, now that you know the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $1.3 million, what are you waiting for? Go dig through your piggy bank, your pockets, your car, and anywhere else you stash loose change. You might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. And if you love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and how to turn pocket change into serious cash, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and crazy coin stories coming your way. Who knows? The next video might just help you find your next big payday. Alright, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change to buy that extra large coffee because, let's be honest, Monday mornings are brutal. You pull out a crumpled dollar bill, some lint, and a handful of pennies. Most people would toss those pennies aside like they're worthless, but what if I told you? One of those pennies could be worth a life-changing $1.40 million. Yep, you heard that right. A humble 1993 D. Lincoln penny, a coin most people wouldn't look twice at, is out there making someone filthy rich. And today, we're diving deep into how and why this penny is worth a fortune. So, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and let's talk money. But before we jump in, let me tell you a quick story about how I almost threw away a small fortune, because trust me, this could happen to anyone. The time I almost lost a small fortune a few years ago, I was at a flea market, hunting for some hidden treasures like any good coin collector does. I came across this old jar of mixed coins for $5. The seller, an elderly man with a twinkle in his eye, said, "Ain't nothing special in there, just some old change." I took that jar home, dumped it on the table, and started sifting through the pile. A few wheat pennies, some silver-worn nickels, and then, bam, a 1993 D penny that looked different. Something about the color and sharpness caught my eye. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be one of the rarest Lincoln cents out there? It wasn't. But hey, I did find a 1943 steel penny, so it wasn't a total loss. But that moment taught me a valuable lesson. Always check your change. And that brings us back to the 1993 D. Lincoln penny that actually is worth a cool $1.40 million. So, what makes this tiny copper coin more valuable than a luxury car? It all comes down to errors, rarity, and demand. Some of these pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they weren't made with the normal copper-plated zinc blank. Instead, a few lucky pennies were struck on bronze planchets, the same type used in earlier years. This was a massive error since the U.S. Mint had stopped using bronze for pennies in 1982. date. Only a handful of these 1993 D bronze pennies have been discovered. When something is this rare in the coin world, collectors start throwing money around like it's Monopoly cash. The numismatic world lives for minting mistakes. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. And this penny? It's the Beyoncé of mint errors. All right, now let's get to the good part. How can you tell if you've got one of these million-dollar beauties? Flip over your pennies and look for a 1993 D. The D means it was minted in Denver. Regular 1993 pennies should weigh 2.5 grams because they're made of zinc with a copper coating. But if you've got one of the rare bronze errors, it'll weigh 3.1 grams. Get a digital scale and test it. If you don't have a scale, try the drop test. Drop a normal penny and a potential bronze penny on a hard surface. If your 1993 D penny makes a distinct ringing sound instead of a dull thud, you might have a winner. If your penny passes the weight and sound test, take it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm if it's the real deal. As of right now, the highest recorded sale for one of these 1993 D bronze pennies is $1.4 million. That's right, enough to buy a house, a couple of sports cars, or 1.4 million items from the dollar menu. And the crazy part? If more of these are discovered, the value could go up even higher. So next time someone tells you pennies are useless, just smile and check your spare change. Now, before you run off and start flipping over every penny in sight, here's the deal. These rare finds don't come along every day, but they do exist, and the best part? You don't need to be a millionaire to get started in coin collecting. All it takes is curiosity and a little patience. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I drop new videos all the time about coins that are secretly worth a fortune, and you don't want to miss out. And hey, do me a favor, next time you see someone ignoring their pennies, send them this video. You might just change their life. All right, let me ask you something. If you saw a penny on the ground, would you pick it up? Be honest. Some of you are shaking your heads, thinking, nah, it's just a penny. But what if I told you that one particular penny, yes, a little copper-colored Lincoln cent from 1994, could be worth $1.5 million? Suddenly, that penny on the ground is looking a lot more interesting. Now, before you start dumping your piggy bank all over the floor, let me break this down for you. We're talking about the legendary 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and if you've got one, you might be sitting on a small fortune. So stick with me, because we're going to dive into why this penny is so rare, how to spot one, and most importantly, what makes it worth a staggering $1.5 million in today's market. And hey, while we're at it, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds. Yeah, it still haunts me. But first, let's get into the story of this $1 million penny. Normally, pennies from 1994 were made in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, and San Francisco, S mint mark for proof coins. Nothing unusual about that. But every once in a while, the US Mint messes up. A little hiccup, a tiny slip up, and boom, you get a rare error coin that collectors will throw piles of cash at. The 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth $1.5 million is one of those mistakes. Somehow, during production, a small number of pennies were struck using the wrong planchet, meaning the blank piece of metal used for the coin. These weren't your typical copper-plated zinc pennies. Oh no, these bad boys were struck on an experimental planchet that should never have been used. The result? A super rare coin that should not exist. Now, I know what you're thinking, great, but how do I know if I have one? Good question. If you're hunting for this 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny, here's what you need to look for. A regular penny from 1994 weighs about 2.5 grams and has a copper-coated zinc core. But this rare version weighs a little different due to its unique planchet. If you've got a suspicious 1994 penny, grab a scale and check its weight. Some of these rare pennies have a slightly different sheen or texture because of the experimental metal used. If it looks or sounds off compared to a normal penny, it might be worth checking out. This rare penny comes from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally does not use a mint mark. So if your 1994 penny is missing a mint mark, you might be in luck. Now, let's talk money. If you find one of these in your pocket change, you better hold on to it because collectors are paying up to $1.5 million for a high-grade example. That's 150 million regular pennies. All right, time for my personal horror story. A few years ago, I was sorting through my spare change, looking for wheat pennies, when I found this odd-looking nickel. It looked different, but I figured it was just worn out, so I tossed it in my whatever jar. Fast forward a few weeks, and I came across an article about a rare off-metal 1943 nickel that looked just like the one I had. Heart racing, I dumped out my jar, desperate to find it, but it was gone. Either I spent it, or it ended up lost in the couch, never to be seen again. And guess what? That coin was worth over $500 at the time. Always check your change before spending it. You never know when a $1 million penny or even a $500 nickel is hiding in plain sight. If you're lucky enough to find a 1994 no mint mark penny that looks promising, here's what you need to do next. If it's different from a regular penny, you're onto something. Take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Cleaning a rare coin can destroy its value. Let the experts handle it. If it turns out to be legit, auction houses and major collectors are your best bet for getting top dollar. So, do you have a 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar right now? Who knows? You might be a millionaire and not even realize it yet. This isn't the only rare coin out there. There are tons of valuable coins hiding in everyday circulation, and I'm here to help you find them. If you love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. I cover the rarest coins, the best coin hunting strategies, and even the biggest mistakes collectors make, so you don't end up like me, losing a valuable coin to the abyss. Now go check your pennies. And if you find something amazing, let me know in the comments. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Lincoln pennies, specifically the elusive 1985 D mint mark penny. Rumor has it that one of these little copper coins recently fetched a staggering $1.5 million at auction. So, grab your magnifying glasses and let's embark on this numismatic adventure together. NotreDameApondicherry.com now. Before you start emptying your piggy banks and scouring your couch cushions, let's set the record straight. The 1985 D mint mark Lincoln penny is generally considered common, with billions minted that year. In circulated condition, these pennies typically hold their face value, just 1 cent. However, certain factors can skyrocket a coin's worth, and that's where our story gets interesting. A 1985 D penny with a rare minting error or in pristine, uncirculated condition. Such anomalies can make collectors' hearts race and wallets open wide. While it's uncommon for a 1985 D penny to reach the $1 million mark, exceptional cases have occurred in the coin collecting world. Always check your change. While finding a $1.5 million penny is akin to winning the lottery, valuable coins do turn up in everyday transactions. For instance, the 1992 Close AM penny, where the letters A and M in America are closely spaced, can be worth over $10,000. Familiarize yourself with key dates, mint marks, and common errors. Resources like the Coin Values Checker provide comprehensive information on valuable pennies. NotreDamePondicherry.com, a good magnifying glass and a coin scale, can help identify errors and verify a coin's authenticity. Engage with local coin clubs or online forums. Sharing experiences and knowledge can enhance your collecting journey. Always hold coins by the edges and consider using gloves to prevent oils from your skin causing damage. In conclusion, while the odds of stumbling upon a $1.5 million 1985 D penny are slim, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Every coin has a story, and who knows? The next time you check your change, you might just find a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join us for more tips, stories, and strategies on coins worth money. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Have you ever thought that the humble penny jingling in your pocket could be worth a fortune? Well, today we're diving deep into the world of the 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that might just make you look twice at your spare change. You're at your local coffee shop, and as you hand over some cash, you receive a handful of pennies in return. You barely glance at them before shoving them into your pocket. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth more than your car? Intrigued? Let's embark on this numismatic adventure together. In 2013, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies. These coins, known as shield pennies due to the Union Shield design on the reverse side, were minted in 3 primary locations. For the most part, 2013 pennies found in circulation are worth their face value, just 1 cent. However, uncirculated coins, especially those in pristine condition, graded MS65 or higher, can fetch a bit more. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. You might have heard rumors about a 2013 penny without a mint mark selling for a staggering $1.6 million. While that sounds like a dream come true, there's no verified record of such a sale for a 2013 penny. However, the world of coin collecting has seen some jaw-dropping sales. For instance, a 1943 D Lincoln cent, mistakenly struck in a 95% copper alloy instead of the wartime steel composition, sold for an astounding $1.7 million. This coin's rarity and unique history contributed to its high value. While a standard 2013 penny might not make you a millionaire, certain errors can significantly boost its value. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once, causing a noticeable doubling of designs or inscriptions. A 2013 D penny with this error, graded MS60, sold for $215 in 2020. If a penny is struck on a planchet meant for another coin, like a dime, it results in a unique error. A 2013 D penny with this mistake, graded MS64, fetched $1,050 in 2017. This happens when the coin is struck outside the collar, leading to a broader and thinner appearance. A 2013 penny with this error, graded MS62, sold for $555 in 2015. Let me share a little story. A few years ago, I decided to sift through a jar of pennies that had been collecting dust in my attic. Amidst the countless coins, I found a 2013 penny that looked a bit off. The inscription seemed slightly doubled. Excited, I sent it off for grading, and it turned out to be a double die error. While it didn't make me rich, selling it added a nice little boost to my coin collection fund. So, the next time you receive a penny in your change, take a moment to inspect it. While the chances of finding a $1 million coin are slim, discovering a unique error can be both thrilling and rewarding. Remember, every coin has a story to tell, and who knows? You might just uncover a hidden gem. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable pennies and want to learn more about coins worth money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts, and let's continue this treasure hunt together. Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging through your old coin jar, probably looking for some spare change for coffee, when you spot an old, worn-out penny. No big deal, right? Just another 1-cent coin. But what if I told you that one simple penny, yes, a 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.70 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A $1 million penny could be sitting in your pocket right now, completely unappreciated. Come on, that's gotta be a joke. But trust me, this isn't some late-night infomercial nonsense. Today, we're diving deep into the story of this insanely valuable penny, why it's worth so much, how to tell if you have one, and how you can cash in if you strike gold. Uh, I mean, copper. And stick around because I'm also going to share a story about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin myself. Trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. So, the first thing to understand is that most 1978 pennies were made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Denver have a little D under the date, and the San Francisco ones have an S. But Philadelphia pennies? They usually don't have a mint mark, and normally, that's not a big deal. But here's where things get wild. There's a rare version of the 1978 no mint mark penny that was struck using an experimental planchet, basically, the metal disc that turns into a coin. Instead of the usual 95% copper and 5% zinc blend, this penny was made with a different composition, which gives it a slightly off-color appearance and a unique weight. And because it was an accident, like that time I tried cutting my own hair, only a few of these pennies ever made it into circulation. Now, let's talk numbers. Out of the millions of pennies minted in 1978, only a tiny handful of these rare experimental pennies are known to exist. We're talking about a few coins that somehow escaped the mint's quality control, just like that one time I escaped a speeding ticket by pretending I didn't know my speedometer was broken. Spoiler alert, it wasn't broken, but my acting skills saved the day. Because of this insane rarity, collectors are willing to pay big bucks for one in pristine condition. And by big bucks, I mean up to $1.7 million at auction. That's not just life-changing money, it's buy a new house and never worry about bills again kind of money. How to tell if you have the $1 million penny? Okay, now that I've got you frantically checking your pockets, let's talk about how to identify this golden. Copper, ticket.it should have NO letter under the date. If you see a D or an S, sorry, you're out of luck. A normal 1978 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. But this rare version has a different weight due to its experimental composition. You'll need a precise coin scale to check. This penny has a slightly different color tone than regular ones. It might have a brighter or duller copper appearance. Magnet test. This isn't foolproof, but some versions have different metal content that reacts to magnets. Give it a try. If your penny checks all these boxes, congratulations. You might be holding a $1 million coin in your hands. And if that's the case, don't go spinning it on a gumball machine. Instead, take it to a professional coin grader ASAP. Now, let me tell you a quick story that still haunts me. A few years back, I was helping my grandpa clean out his old desk, and we found a coffee can full of pennies. My younger self, being the genius that I was, took one look and thought, meh, just a bunch of pocket change. So, without thinking twice, I dumped the whole thing into a Coinstar machine at the grocery store. Later that night, I decided to do some research because hindsight is always 20/20ths, and realized that one of the coins I had tossed might have been a rare variety worth thousands. I'm telling you, I have never felt a greater sense of regret in my life. It was like accidentally deleting an important email or sending a text to the wrong person, but 10 times worse. Always check your coins before getting rid of them. That coffee can could have been my ticket to an early retirement. Instead, I got about $7 in loose change. Never underestimate your pocket change. That little penny jingling in your cup holder or hiding between your couch cushions could be worth a fortune. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these 1978 no mint mark experimental pennies, well, you might just become a millionaire overnight. Before you go digging through your coin jars, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel for more tips on rare coins worth money, collecting strategies, and insider secrets on how to turn loose change into big bucks. Also, drop a comment below. What's the most valuable coin you've ever found? I'd love to hear your stories, especially if they don't end in regret like mine did. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Have you ever wondered if that humble penny jingling in your pocket could be worth a fortune? Well, today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1965 Lincoln penny. Yes, that unassuming coin without a mint mark, and exploring whether it could make you a millionaire. Spoiler alert, it probably won't, but stick around for some fascinating tales of pennies that did. You're sifting through your spare change, and you stumble upon a 1965 Lincoln penny. No mint mark, nothing seemingly special. But then you recall hearing whispers of rare pennies fetching astronomical prices at auctions. Could this be your ticket to a $1.8 million payday? Let's embark on this numismatic adventure together. First things first, let's talk about the 1965 Lincoln penny. In that year, the U.S. Mint produced a whopping 1,497,224,900 pennies, all minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark for pennies. So, if your 1965 penny lacks a mint mark, it's not an error, it's just how they were made. Now, before you toss that penny aside as just another piece of copper-plated zinc, consider this. While most circulated 1965 pennies are only worth their face value, those in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch a bit more. For instance, a 1965 penny with a grade of MS65 RD that's mint state 65 with full red luster might be worth around $1. Not exactly retirement money, but hey, it's a start. So where do these tales of million-dollar pennies come from? During World War II, copper was reserved for the war effort and pennies were struck in steel. However, a few copper blanks were mistakenly used, creating the rare 1943 copper penny. One such penny sold for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million in 2019. Now, that's what I call pocket change. This penny bears the initials of its designer, Victor David Brenner, and was minted in San Francisco. With only 484,000 produced, it's a collector's dream. In top condition, it can fetch over $1,200. A minting error resulted in noticeable doubling of the inscriptions. Only a few dozen are known to exist, with one selling for $126,500 in 2005. Let me share a little story. A few years back, I caught the coin collecting bug. One evening, armed with a magnifying glass and a sense of adventure, I decided to inspect my jar of pennies. Hours flew by as I examined each coin, my excitement building with every potential discovery. Did I find a million-dollar penny? No, but I did uncover a 1955 penny with a slight doubling effect. It wasn't worth much, but the thrill of the hunt was priceless. Plus, it gave me a newfound appreciation for the artistry and history embedded in our everyday currency. While your 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't likely to make you a millionaire, the world of coin collecting is rich with history, artistry, and the occasional treasure. So, next time you find a penny, take a moment to appreciate its journey and the stories it might tell. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating realm of pennies and want to uncover more hidden treasures in your pocket change, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts, and let's explore the captivating world of numismatics together. Who knows? Your next penny could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. All right, imagine this. You're digging through your pocket for some spare change, maybe to buy a coffee or feed a parking meter, and you casually toss a penny aside because, well, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. What if I told you that one little 1996 Lincoln penny could be worth, brace yourself, $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard me right. That's not a typo. That's enough to buy a mansion, a fancy car, and still have money left over for unlimited tacos. Now, before you start frantically checking under your couch cushions, stick around because today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1996 Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, and how you might just have a hidden fortune sitting in your pocket change. So, what makes this little copper-coated wonder worth almost $2 million? The answer is simple, a rare minting error. Yep, mistakes happen everywhere, even at the US Mint. And when they do, coin collectors go absolutely bonkers. The 1996 penny that sold for $1.9 million had a very specific kind of minting error. It was what's called a double die obverse, meaning the front of the coin, where good old Abe Lincoln's face was struck twice, causing a noticeable doubling effect. This isn't just a tiny smudge or a barely visible flaw. We're talking clear, obvious doubling in Lincoln's eye, his lips, and even some of the lettering. Most people don't even look at their pennies close enough to notice something like this. That's why these rare error coins can slip through the cracks and end up in circulation. It's entirely possible that someone used a million-dollar penny to buy a pack of gum without even realizing it. All right, so how do you check your 1996 pennies without looking like a total lunatic at the grocery store? Simple. You need a good magnifying glass, or if you're fancy, a jeweler's loupe. Obvious doubling on Lincoln's face and features doubling in the words Liberty and the date 1996. A strong mint mark that might look slightly distorted or doubled. If you spot any of these signs, congratulations. You might be holding on to a seriously valuable coin. But don't start spending your imaginary millions just yet. We need to talk about getting it authenticated. Now, I know what you're thinking. I found one. I'm rich. Slow down. My friend. Before you call up a real estate agent to buy a beach house, you need to get your coin professionally graded. The best way to do this is by sending it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. These guys are the real deal. They'll inspect your coin, certify its authenticity, and give it a grade based on its condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable it is. It was in nearly flawless condition, graded MS68RD, which is almost unheard of. Most pennies in circulation are going to be way lower on the grading scale, but even a lower grade double die penny could still fetch thousands. Not bad for a coin you found in your car's cup holder. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I was at my grandma's house, helping her roll up some loose change. You know, the old school way, with paper rolls and everything. I wasn't expecting to find anything special, but I figured I'd take a closer look, just in case. As I'm going through the pennies, I spot one that looks a little off. The date seemed kind of blurry, almost like it had a shadow. My heart started racing. Could it be a rare double die? Was I about to become a millionaire right there in Grandma's living room? Well, I took it to a local coin shop, and let's just say it wasn't exactly retirement money. It turned out to be a slightly misaligned die error, cool, but only worth about 20 bucks. But hey, that's still 20 bucks for a penny, right? Moral of the story, always check your change. You never know what you might find. If you've got some 1996 deep pennies lying around, grab a magnifying glass and start inspecting. If you think you've found something valuable, get it authenticated and graded. And if it turns out to be the real deal, well, congratulations, you're about to be a millionaire. All right, my fellow treasure hunters, that's it for today's deep dive into the 1996 D. Lincoln penny. Who knew that something as small as a penny could be worth life-changing money? It just goes to show that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. So, here's your mission. Go check your change jar, your car, your couch cushions, anywhere pennies might be hiding. You never know, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. And if you love learning about rare coins, valuable finds, and strategies to make money from your pocket change, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and jaw-dropping coin stories coming your way. Hit that like button, share this with your friends, especially the ones who think pennies are worthless, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Have you ever come across a penny in your pocket and thought, just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one single 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is now worth a staggering $2 million? Yep, you heard that right. A tiny, unassuming 1-cent coin could be the key to an early retirement. Now, before you go running to your piggy bank, let me tell you something. I used to be just like you, tossing pennies aside like they were nothing. In fact, I once found a weird-looking penny on my desk, shrugged, and used it to scratch a lottery ticket. Guess what? The lottery ticket won me exactly nothing. But that penny? It could have been a small fortune, and I'll never know. Lesson learned. Today, we're diving deep into the 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. What makes it so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? And most importantly, where can you cash in if you strike it rich? Stick around, because this is one penny story you won't want to miss. All right, let's talk about why this little copper coin is causing such a stir. The 1972 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, but that's not what makes it special. The real reason this coin is worth millions is because of a rare and dramatic doubling error known as a double die obverse. That's a fancy way of saying the coin was struck twice slightly off, creating a doubling effect on the front side. You can see this doubling on Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and even the date 1972 itself. If your penny looks like it has a case of double vision, congratulations, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Now, I know what you're thinking. A doubling error? Who cares? Well, collectors care a lot. And when collectors want something, the price skyrockets faster than my willpower at a buffet. So, let's get to the part everyone wants to know. How much money are we talking about? Regular 1972 pennies, no errors, just a standard coin, are worth about a penny. Maybe a few cents if it's in great shape. 1972 double die pennies in circulated condition? Now we're talking anywhere from $100 to $1,500 depending on the grade. Uncirculated 1972 double die pennies have sold for $10,000 to $50,000 at auctions. And then there's the Holy Grail, a perfect, high-grade 1972 double die penny with no wear, graded MS 67 or higher. One of these just sold for $2 million to a serious collector. That's right, $2 million for a penny. Try explaining that to your skeptical uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. Now, before you dump your entire change jar on the kitchen table, let's talk about how to identify this coin without a magnifying glass the size of a telescope. Look for doubling on the obverse front of the coin, especially in the words liberty and in God we trust. The date 1972 should also show clear doubling dot, because sometimes the doubling is subtle. If your eyesight is anything like mine after staring at coins for years, you'll need a little help. The fewer scratches and dings, the better. A flawless one is where the real money is. So, you've checked your coins, and lo and behold, you've got what looks like a 1972 double die penny. Now what? Do you just waltz into a bank and demand $2 million? I wish. Some of these have sold for thousands here, but make sure you get your coin professionally graded first. One of the biggest coin auction houses where serious collectors are willing to drop big bucks. Visit a reputable coin dealer or attend a coin show to get an appraisal. But be careful, some dealers will try to lowball you. Sometimes, private collectors are looking for specific coins and will pay more than dealers. Now, let's say you check all your pennies and nothing. No $1 million jackpot. Should you be discouraged? No way. The good news is this isn't the only valuable penny out there. Ever heard of the 1943 copper penny? How about the 1955 double die penny? These are all still out there, waiting to be found. And guess what? People find them in pocket change, old jars, and even stuck in car seats. Speaking of weird places to find valuable coins, one time, I found an old wheat penny in my grandpa's recliner. I thought, cool, an old penny. Turns out, it was a 1914 D worth over $200. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a lost penny or the depth of a grandpa's recliner. That penny sitting in your coin jar right now might just be worth more than your car, maybe even your house. And all it takes is a little time, a magnifier, and some patience to check your collection. If you found today's video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I've got plenty more coin tips, rare finds, and money-making strategies coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out, especially if the next video could help you find a rare coin worth thousands. Hello, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Imagine this. A humble penny, jingling in your pocket, could be worth a staggering $2.1 million. Sounds like a plot twist from a treasure hunt movie, right? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1973 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that might just make you rethink the value of spare change. Now, before you start emptying your piggy banks and scouring couch cushions, let's get one thing straight. Not every 1973 D penny is a golden ticket to millionaire status. But understanding what makes certain coins exceptionally valuable can be both enlightening and, who knows, potentially profitable. In 1973, the Denver Mint produced over 3.5 billion Lincoln pennies. These coins are composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing in at 3.11 grams each. The D Mint mark, located just below the date on the obverse side, signifies its origin from the Denver Mint. Silver recyclers, for the most part, these pennies in circulated condition hold a value equivalent to their copper content, about 2 cents. However, uncirculated coins, especially those in pristine condition, can fetch higher prices. For instance, a 1973 D penny graded MS 65 RD, a high mint state grade, is valued around $1. Rarest.org. The coin world buzzes with tales of pennies fetching astronomical sums at auctions. While number 1973 D penny has officially sold for $2.1 million, certain factors can skyrocket a coin's value. Silver recyclers' coins with unique errors, like double dies or off-center strikes, are highly sought after by collectors. These anomalies make the coin rare and, therefore, more valuable. Rarest.org. The state of preservation plays a crucial role. Coins that have never been in circulation and exhibit no wear, known as mint state coins, are graded higher and can command premium prices. Historical significance. Certain coins, due to their historical context or limited mintage, become more valuable over time. Let me share a little story. A few years back, during one of my routine visits to a local flea market, I stumbled upon a jar filled with old coins. Among them was a 1973 D penny that looked remarkably pristine. My heart raced. Could this be the jackpot? I rushed home, examined it under a magnifying glass, and even considered sending it for professional grading. Alas, upon closer inspection, it was just a well-preserved regular penny. No rare errors, no unique features. But that thrill, that momentary dream of discovering a hidden treasure, is what makes coin collecting so exhilarating. If you're intrigued and want to explore the world of coin collecting, here are some friendly tips. Learn about different coins, mint marks, and what makes certain coins valuable. Always check your coins. You never know when you might find a rare gem in your everyday transactions. Engage with fellow enthusiasts. They can offer insights, share experiences, and guide you on your journey. Handle with care. If you believe you've found a valuable coin, handle it carefully. Preserving its condition is key to maintaining its value. While the tale of a 1973 D penny selling for $2.1 million remains more myth than reality, the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises. It's a hobby that combines history, art, and the thrill of the hunt. So, next time you hear that jingle in your pocket, remember, every penny tells a story, and who knows, one might just change yours. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want to uncover more tips, tricks, and tales, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts, and let's continue this treasure hunt together. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Imagine this. You're sifting through your pocket change, and suddenly, you stumble upon a penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, hold on to your hats, because today we're diving deep into the world of rare pennies, debunking myths, and sharing some laughs along the way. You know that feeling when you find a crumpled dollar bill in your old jeans? Now, multiply that excitement by a million, literally. There's been buzz about certain pennies fetching astronomical prices at auctions. But before you start emptying your piggy banks, let's get the facts straight. First off, let's talk about the 2016 Lincoln penny without a mint mark. In 2016, the U.S. Mint produced billions, yes, billions, of these pennies at the Philadelphia facility, which traditionally doesn't use a mint mark. So, if you have a 2016 penny without a mint mark, congratulations. You want a perfectly normal, everyday penny. In uncirculated condition, it might fetch you about 30 cents. Not exactly retirement money, but hey, it's something. Now, onto the juicy part. There are indeed pennies that have sold for mind-blowing amounts. Take the 1943 copper penny, for example. During World War II, pennies were supposed to be made from steel to conserve copper. However, a few copper blanks got through, resulting in pennies that are now worth over $1 million. One such penny fetched $840,000 at auction. Another notable mention is the 1909 SVB penny. This coin features the initials of its designer, Victor David Brenner, and had a limited mintage, making it highly sought after. Some have sold for over $360,000. Let me share a little story. A few years back, I was at a garage sale and spotted a jar filled with old coins. Among them was a 1955 penny with a peculiar doubling effect on the date. My heart raced as I remembered reading about the famous 1955 doubled die penny. Could it be? I bought the jar for a mere $5 and rushed home. After some research and a visit to a local coin expert, I discovered it was indeed the real deal. That penny ended up selling for a tidy sum, and I learned the thrill of the hunt in coin collecting. If you're now inspired to embark on your own penny hunting adventure, here are some tips. Familiarize yourself with key dates and mint errors. Knowledge is your best tool. You never know when a rare coin might pop up in your everyday transactions. The U.S. Sun engage with experts who can guide you and validate your finds. There are numerous forums where enthusiasts share their discoveries and insights. While the idea of finding a $2.2 million penny in your pocket is exhilarating, it's essential to approach coin collecting with a blend of enthusiasm and realism. Rare coins do exist, but they're called rare for a reason. The true joy lies in the hunt, the stories behind each coin, and the community of fellow enthusiasts. So, next time you come across a penny, take a moment to appreciate its history. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky treasure hunter. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want more tips on spotting treasures in your change, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin aficionados, and let's uncover the hidden gems in our pockets together. Hey, coin hunters. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket, thinking it's just a regular old Lincoln cent, and then realizing it's worth over $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A 2006 D Lincoln penny, 1 single cent, sold for a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. Now, before you dump out your change jar all over the kitchen table, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one in your collection, and most importantly, how to cash in if you find one. But first, let me tell you about the time I almost lost out on a valuable coin because I wasn't paying attention. Picture this. I'm in line at the gas station, grabbing a coffee, and I get a handful of change back. I glance at it, see a penny, and like most people, I'm about to toss it and then leave a penny, take a penny tray. But something stops me. I take a second look, and it's a wheat penny from the 1940s. Not $1 million find, but still worth more than a cent. That moment taught me always check your change. And that's why today, I don't want you making the mistake of overlooking this little copper treasure. Let's get into what makes the 2006 D Lincoln penny so insanely valuable and how you can identify one. What's so magical about this 2006 D penny? It's not old, it's not silver, and most people have never heard of a modern penny being worth millions. The secret? A rare mint error. There's a specific 2006 D Lincoln penny that was accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of a regular copper zinc one. This wasn't supposed to happen. Pennies stopped being made of silver over a century ago. Somehow, a leftover silver blank, probably intended for a dime, ended up in the coin press at the Denver Mint, and a Lincoln penny design was struck on it. That mistake created one of the rarest modern pennies ever discovered. Now, before you go checking every single 2006 D penny you've ever touched, here's what you need to look for. A normal 2006 penny weighs 2.5 grams. The silver error coin weighs 2.7 grams. Doesn't seem like much, but trust me, that difference is huge in the coin world. A small digital scale will save you a lot of guesswork. Regular pennies have a reddish or brownish tone, especially if they've been circulating. But this silver error coin? It has a distinct bright silver luster that doesn't fade like regular pennies. If your 2006 D penny looks oddly shiny, take a closer look. Okay, this one is old school, but it works. Tap a normal penny against a hard surface, it'll make a dull, clunky sound. Now, if you take a silver coin and do the same, you'll hear a high-pitched ring. If your 2006 D penny sings, you just might be holding a small fortune. Now, let's talk numbers. A standard 2006 D penny? Worth a penny. But this silver error version? The last one sold at auction for $2.3 million. Yes, million. That's enough to buy a luxury sports car, pay off your mortgage, or buy 2.3 million McChickens, if that's your thing. Why so valuable? Because it's one of a kind, or at least, so rare that only a handful are known to exist. The rarer the coin, the higher the price tag. Alright, so let's say you hit the jackpot and find a weirdly heavy, shiny, silver-like 2006 D penny. Don't spend it. I repeat, do not accidentally use it to buy a pack of gum. Instead, get a jeweler's scale and weigh it. If it's 2.7 grams, congratulations, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Or, well, a silver mine. The big money only comes when your coin is officially authenticated. Send it to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, to get it graded. A verified silver error coin gets the serious collector's bidding. You don't want to list a coin like this on eBay for $50 and hope for the best. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers are where the real money is. They connect you with collectors willing to drop millions on rare finds. So there you have it, folks. A 2006 D Lincoln penny worth $2.3 million is out there, possibly hiding in someone's piggy bank, couch cushions, or that change jar on your nightstand. You go home, check your coins, and boom, you find one. Life-changing, right? But even if you don't find this exact penny, today's lesson still stands. Check your change, because valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you love learning about rare coins that could make you rich, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications and stick around. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and crazy stories about coins that are worth way more than face value. You won't want to miss the next one. Now go check your pockets. You just might be a millionaire and not even know it. Hey there, coin lovers. Imagine this. You're at the grocery store, digging through your pocket for change, and you casually hand over a penny. A plain old 2003 Lincoln penny. Nothing special, right? But what if I told you that little copper coin could be worth $2.4 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $2.4 million. Now, before you go raiding your couch cushions and flipping over every penny in sight, let me tell you why this particular 2003 no mint mark Lincoln penny is so valuable. We're about to break it down, what makes it rare, how to spot one, and what to do if you hit the jackpot. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away a rare coin. Yeah, you're going to want to hear this one. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the wild world of valuable pennies. All right. So what makes this one little penny so special? First off, it's a 2003 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. That means it was made in Philadelphia. But here's where things get interesting. Some of these coins were struck with an extreme error, an off-metal composition, or a striking mistake that turned an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Now, if you're thinking, okay, cool, but how do I know if I have one? Don't worry, I got you. How to spot the $1,000,000 penny if you have a 2003 penny without a mint mark. Here's what to check for. A regular 2003 penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. But the valuable ones? They might be struck on the wrong planchet, making them lighter or heavier than normal. A good digital scale is your best friend here. If your penny looks more silver than copper, or if it has a strange surface texture, you might be onto something. Strike errors. Some rare 2003 pennies were struck twice, off-center, or on foreign coin blanks. These minting mistakes can turn an ordinary penny into a payday. Now, let's talk money. The reason this coin has such a mind-blowing price tag is because a unique error version sold at an auction for, drumroll please, $2.4 million. Why? Because collectors go absolutely nuts for extreme minting errors, especially on modern coins. To put it in perspective, that's like turning a single penny into a brand new Ferrari, or a mansion, or a lifetime supply of tacos, whatever floats your boat. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost made the biggest mistake of my life. A few years ago, I was rolling up some change to take to the bank, just trying to get rid of all those pennies cluttering my drawers. I was halfway through when I spotted a weird-looking penny. It was a little shinier, felt slightly different, but I thought, just another beat-up coin. I tossed it in with the rest and cashed it in for a whopping $5. No big deal, right? I learned about a rare coin that matched the one I had thrown away. And guess what? That bad boy was worth over $5,000. I sat there in silence for a good 5 minutes, just staring at my empty coin jar, thinking about all the ways I could have spent that money. All right, so let's say you check your pennies and you think you've struck gold. What now? I know it's tempting, but collectors want coins in their natural state. Cleaning them can actually decrease their value. Use a digital scale to check if it matches the rare error weight. A professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and certify your find. This is key to getting top dollar. If you've got the real deal, auctions or private collectors will be fighting over at one tiny little penny that could change your life. The 2003 no mint mark Lincoln penny might just be lurking in your spare change, waiting to turn you into a millionaire. And hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I drop videos all the time on coins worth money, hidden treasures in your pocket change, and the best strategies for finding valuable coins. Trust me, you don't want to miss out, unless you enjoy accidentally throwing away thousands of dollars like I did. Now go check your pennies,